Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai, Shri Shri Radha Madhava Hari ki jai, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai, Shri Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Jai Gaur Brahmana ki. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees of Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Shri Guru. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Jnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamajam Dadati Spapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhantamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyaiva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachayine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Deshadari Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shiva Shubhani Devi Deknaya Pape Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namah Madhurya Jvala Premadhya Shirupanoga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostate Namaste Gauravani Shrimurte Deenatarine Rupanuga Viruddhapa Siddhanta Mantaharine Nityananda Vidutendur Vasudha Prana Vallabha Janu Jivitapati Krishna Prema Pada Prabhu Padmavati Sutta Shriman Shachinandan Purvachaha Bhavanmatva Jagatrata Rakta Gaura Kalevara Chaitana Krishna Chaitana Gauranga Bijanayaka Yatinam Janinam Chaiva Nashinam Shiromani Raktambaradhara Shriman Navadvipa Shuddhakara Prema Bhakti Padashcheva Shishachinandana Stata Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jai Gurudara Srimad Bhagavatam Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sadhaiva Ajat Shatraho Swam Rajyam Kitavaihi Ritam Ghatyiva Asataha Ragyaha Kacha Sparsha Shata Ayushaha Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho Swam Rajyam Kitavaivitam Swam Rajyam Kitavaivitam Ghatiyat Vasato Bhagyaha Ghatiyat Vasato Bhagyaha Kacha Sparsha Kshatayushaha Kacha Sparsha Kshatayushaha Sadhayat Vajata Shatraho Swam Bhajam Kitavaivitam Ghatiyat Vasato Bhagyaha Kacha Sparsha Kshatayusha Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho Swam Rajyam Kitavaivitam Ghatiyva Bhagyaha Kacha Sparsha Kshatayusha
Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho Rajam Kitavaivitam
Swam Rajyam Kitavaivitam
Adhyatva Saturagyaha
Ghatiyva Saturagyaha
Sparsha Chatayushaha
Kacha Sparsha Kshatayusha
Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho
Sadhaiva Jata Shatraho
Vacham Gitavaritam
Svan Vacham Kitavaritam
Yatayidva Sato Ragya
Yatayidva Sato Ragya
Kacha Sparsha Shatayusha
Kacha Sparsha Shatayusha Sadhyatva having executed Ajata Shatraha of one who has no enemy Swam Rajyam own kingdom Gitavehi by the clever Duryodhana and party Ritam usurped Ghatayatva having killed Asataha the unscrupulous Ragyaha of the queens Kacha bunch of hair Sparsha roughly handled Chata decreased Ayusaha by the duration of life. Translation by His Divine Grace. Please repeat after me. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the scrupulous kings, and the unscrupulous kings, who joined Duryodhana, were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. The clever Duryodhana and his party cunningly usurped the kingdom of Yudhishthira, who had no enemy. By the grace of the Lord, the recovery was executed, and the unscrupulous kings who joined with Duryodhana were killed by him. Others also died, their duration of life having decreased for their rough handling of the hair of Queen Draupadi. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the glorious days, or before the advent of the age of Kali, the brahmanas, the cows, the women, the children, and the old men were properly given protection. Number 1. The protection of the brahmanas maintains the institution of varna and ashrama, the most scientific culture for attainment of spiritual life. Number 2. The protection of cows maintains the most miraculous form of food, that is, milk, for maintaining the finer tissues of the brain for understanding higher aims of life. Number 3. The protection of women maintains the chastity of society, by which we can get a good generation for peace, tranquility, and progress of life. Number 4. The protection of children gives the human form of life its best chance to prepare the way of liberty from material bondage. Such protection of children begins from the very beginning, from the very day of begetting a child by the purificatory process of Garbhodhan Samskar, the beginning of pure life. Number 5. The protection of the old man gives them a chance to prepare themselves for a better life after death. This complete outlook is based on factors leading to successful humanity as against the civilization of polished cats and dogs. The killing of the above-mentioned innocent creatures is totally forbidden because even by insulting them, one loses one's duration of life. In the age of Kali, they are not properly protected, and therefore the duration of life of the present generation has shortened considerably. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that when the women become unchaste for want of proper protection, there are unwanted children called Varnashankara. To insult a chaste woman means to bring about disaster in the duration of life. Dushashan, a brother of Duryodhana, insulted Draupadi, an ideal chaste lady, and therefore the miscreants died untimely. These are some of the stringent laws of the Lord mentioned above. Krishna 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 Swami. Amongst devotees, it's quite well known that Queen Kunti suffered greatly. Her life had many egregious tragedies, really nasty tragedies. Including seeing a very, very chaste daughter-in-law being gravely insulted, not just insulted, really badly insulted by Duryodhana and his merry band of rogues who were parading at the time as political leaders, as monarchs, as kings. In the Varnashrama system of life, the purpose is to raise one's consciousness to the spiritual level. Because of all our conditioning for millions and millions of lives. Just in this cycle of Lord Vishnu's breath, we've passed 155 billion years, 155 trillion years. I mean, that's an amazing amount of time. And this is just half the breath of Vishnu God. Another half breath is still to go. This one breath is 311 trillion years long. You know, our one breath is about 5 seconds long. Right? It finishes in 5 seconds. That those of us who breathe well, by the way, we breathe 12 times in 1 minute. Those who don't breathe very well, they breathe 20 times, 30 times, 40 times in a minute. Very sharp breath. And life is measured by breaths. We have a certain number of breaths. And if you breathe quickly, you will die soon. If you slow your breath down, you live 400, 500 years. If you can keep your breath going, one breath going for a minute or two, which is what the yogis in the Himalayas do. They keep their breath going for 5 minutes, one breath, 5 minutes. You know. So they live 600, 700, 800 years. They also have the same number of breaths. It's not like they've been given more breaths. Krishna is very kind. What does he say? I'm equal to everyone. Right? So, the purpose is actually to lift one's consciousness to the spiritual state, because in our past conditioning, we become so material in our outlook that all we care about are the sense objects, chasing after sense objects, you know, the latest gadget, the latest car, the best house, the most beautiful spouse, handsome spouse, highest education, the greatest position in society, President of the United States of America. These are sense objects. These are positions, they're sense objects. Some of us are a little smarter. We're more into chasing the senses. You know, getting a little better. Those who get smarter, they chase the mind. They're into big philosophical games now, you know. Smart philosophy, Aristotle, you know, the big leagues of philosophy. Those even smarter than that chase intelligence. They're into intelligence. But these are all material. These are all the younger brothers of the big brother of false ego. The false ego is smaller brothers, the false ego is like the guru, and the disciples are the intelligence, the mind, the senses, and their field of activity is the sense objects. How are you going to reign over the sense objects? Become the monarchs. And in the process, they insult so many people that their duration of life becomes shorter, and that's evidenced by the breathing process. You just have to catch the breathing process of somebody, you can know how much insulting they've done in their previous life. Very simple, scientific method. Just ask them to breathe in and out and watch how many seconds they're breathing in and out. The ones who breathe faster have insulted more in the previous life. Why? Because when you insult a person, your body heat is going to increase. Your body heat goes up. When the body heat goes up, the body needs to cool. And breathing is part of the cooling process. It's both the cooling process and the heating process. Because sometimes the body overcools also, so it needs heat. So the body cools its system down by breathing through the left nostril. And it heats the system up by breathing through the right nostril. So if any time you notice your nostrils, and you notice one of them is blocked, you notice the left one is blocked, you should know your body is overcooling, and therefore the body has blocked the left nostril, so the air will come to the right nostril and heat the body up again. And if your right nostril is blocked, which is for most people the case, because they do a lot of offenses, then the body is pulling through the left nostril to try and cool it down. I mean, these are insignificant science that I'm talking about. It's no significant. What I'm talking about is very little significance, except that everything is so scientific. And the most scientific part of this culture is Varnashrama Dharma. Because what it does is, it lifts the consciousness to the level of the soul, Atma Jnana, self-realization, and then beyond that to God realization. So the three stages of God realization: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Like that. So the Varnashrama system is actually a very base system. It's not a very advanced system. It's advanced from a material point of view. It's not advanced from a spiritual point of view. We should understand that. The Varnashrama system is to raise us to the spiritual platform. It's a material system, and it's in the material. There's no Varnashrama system in the spiritual world, by the way. Lord Chaitanya makes it very clear, right? What is the verse that he says? Nam vipronata narapatena viveshana shudro narapatena. Now what? Yeah. Yeah. That's right. Nam vipronata narapatena viveshana shudro narapatena. Now what? After narapatena is I'm skipping me. Kunti Nikila Paramatma Purnam Gopi Bhartu Padakam Dasa. Okay, so anyway, so the idea is that we're not actually Brahmins or Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, nor are we Brahmacharis, Grihastas, Vanaprasthas, and sannyasis. This is not our role. Once we're in spiritual life, that is not our purpose. The purpose of this is to bring us to spiritual life. But once we are in spiritual life, our purpose is actually the happiness of Krishna. The only purpose is to please Krishna. This is what chapter 3 of the Bhagavatam states. Everything should be done as an offering to Lord Vishnu. And it should be done for the pleasure of Lord Vishnu, for the satisfaction of Vishnu, like that. So here, the description that is given of Varnashram is to actually raise people to this point of coming to spiritual life. The Hare Krishna movement is not a material movement, it is a spiritual movement. It is about now focusing on expressing our love to Krishna. Once again, coming to know Krishna intimately and Lord Chaitanya, because these are the two Lords. Lord Krishna is in Union Leela, or Sambhoga Leela, and Lord Chaitanya is in Vipralamba Leela, or separation. So these are the two Lords. And without Lord Chaitanya, you are not going to get Lord Krishna. It's not possible to come to Lord Krishna without the mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So we generally speak about Gauranga Mahaprabhu as our Supreme Lord. That is who we are focusing on. It's all about Gauranga. Like that. And so for us, that is our focus. But here, a description is given because we are reaching out to society. Society is not at the spiritual level. Society is at the material level. And now we're going to give them some help. What are we going to help them? We're going to help them come to the spiritual platform. And to come to the spiritual platform, we tell them that here are some protected classes of people. Do not insult women, chaste women. Now, maybe there are not so many chaste women around from some people's point of view, but actually it is not true. There are many chaste women around. Extremely chaste women around. Many of them are there. So you don't know who's chaste and not chaste. In any case, it even says there clearly in the purport, it's not just the chaste women we should not be insulting, we should not be insulting anyone. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in the chapter on devotional service, we read that even if you insult any living entity, then devotional service is not available. And you can forget it. You can kiss Bhakti goodbye. Not going to come to you. She's not going to come to you. She's not going to allow you to do any service. Bhakti is not possible for people who insult others. So this whole idea of how to behave is extremely important. It's an extremely important part of our life. That our behavior is called achara. Achara, prachara, we say these two things. What is one's behavior and what is one's ability to actually disseminate knowledge, transcendental knowledge. Because only, Prabhupada says, only by transcendental knowledge can one go back a little bit with a reflection coming through the mirror here. Right? I'll take this off, this makes it easier than looking at that. Only by transcendental knowledge can one enter into Praja, into Vrindavan. Otherwise, forest of Vrindavan is not available. Brajadham is not available to persons who do not acquire transcendental knowledge. So why is knowledge called transcendental? Because it transcends the material atmosphere. Knowledge of the material atmosphere includes knowledge of the senses, the sense objects, the mind, the intelligence, like that, the false ego. These are all material. This is all material knowledge. So material knowledge does not bring us to the spiritual platform. But there is a part of material knowledge that does, and that is Varnashrama Dharma. Because it's actually spiritual, it's quasi-spiritual, it's not fully spiritual. And I think it's coming from the other side. Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I think it's coming from the other side.
From the window?
Yeah, that side. Well, it's a bit more. Yeah, there you go. You just walk past it. Yeah, you got it. No, thank you very much. It's quite bright, actually. The sun is very strong. Very nice.
Come in the summer.
Good, strong sun. Strong sun. Sometimes too strong. Strong sun is good. Purifies everything. So here we're seeing that suffered a lot. And in actual fact, devotees, especially the most advanced devotees, will tell us and advise us that it is extreme suffering that is our greatest value that we can have in life. Because in extreme suffering, we become humble. We become truly reflective. We start thinking to ourselves, what is reality? Because nothing else works. In extreme suffering, nothing else works except Krishna consciousness. Only Krishna consciousness can deliver one from extreme suffering. Otherwise, we become victims of extreme suffering. And we can see in the case of Queen Kunti, she has not become a victim. Despite all the extreme suffering she went through, actually it is said that you will not suffer if you can remember the life of Queen Kunti. If you can remember Queen Kunti and her life, you will not suffer. Because she suffered so much by seeing her suffering, and by us empathizing with her suffering, shedding tears, seeing her suffering, our suffering will go away. It won't come to us. We won't have to learn it the hard way. That's the easiest way to learn it. It's not easy anyway, because a devotee really suffers seeing another devotee suffering. There's extreme suffering in seeing another devotee suffering. That is the platform of the devotee. That is the platform of the Vaishnava. So here, with all that extreme suffering, look at her prayers, how beautiful her prayers are, how exalted her prayers are. And what does she beg for? She begs for more suffering. I mean, we don't go around begging for suffering on the Lord. We beg for so many things. But I don't beg for suffering. I don't go to, Lord, please, I've suffered so much in my life. Please give me more suffering. I don't do that. We beg for knowledge, we beg for mercy, we beg for understanding, we beg for service, we beg for the ability to serve others, to reach out to others, to be truly compassionate, to be truly tolerant, like that. 4 things that Prabhupada said. One should be extremely compassionate, extremely tolerant, one should chant attentively, and one should read scrutinizingly. Reading scrutinizing means that when you're reading, you should be in the scene. You should see yourself in that scene. That's scrutinizing reading. If you can actually see the scene when you're reading it. Now you're scrutinizing the reading. We tend to gloss over the reading, Our purpose is to say, I did my reading. Or we're trying to pick up some knowledge so that we can actually impress somebody else with some of our knowledge. Like that. That's not the purpose of reading. The purpose of reading is actually to experience what is being stated in that article or that book. We should be able to experience it. And that means we have to be in the scene. The wonderful cases of this Brahmin in South India who was reading from the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita was upside down. And he was shedding tears. So Lord Chaitanya asked him, why are you crying? And he says, I'm thinking about the extreme compassion of Lord Krishna, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. And here, he has agreed to become a insignificant charioteer for his servant. He's become his driver. Because in India, when you drive cars, you see sometimes these people have drivers, The driver is not considered a very important person in society. He's a servant. And generally we see that, it's not always the case, but generally we see that in India. The servants are considered low class. Right now there's this case going on in New York, I don't know if you've heard about it, about the U.S. Department of, I don't know if it's Justice, maybe it's the Department of Justice. Anyway, they have this section that they catch criminals, their job is to catch criminals. And right now there's an Indian guy who's the leader of the department. It's called Pratinder Singh Bharara, so they call him Preet Bharara. The name Bharara itself should scare anybody. It sounds like a scary name. What he does, he catches big criminals and puts them in jail. And these are powerful guys, like rich people, multi-billionaires. He catches them doing some fraud, starts a case against them and has them bumped in jail. So everybody's scared of Preet Bharara. It's called the Sheriff of Wall Street. They call it the Sheriff of Wall Street. Anyway, so 4 days ago he put the Indian Deputy Consul General in jail. Generally these people have diplomatic immunity, right? He bumped one of them in jail, and it's caused a huge diplomatic row between the US and India. So India retaliated by taking away the privileges of the American diplomats in India. They're having it out right now. The two countries are duking it out with one another. So these persons, and the reason that happened was because she had, this Deputy Consul General had had a servant working in the house. And on the contract it said that she was paying the servant $4,500 a month. The servant was from India. I mean, if an Indian servant gets paid $4,500 a month, I can tell you one thing, half of India will be living in the United States of America. If they can come and be servants down here and get paid. These are not professionals, this is a servant. Okay? And apparently what Prabhu is saying is that he wasn't paying her. She wasn't paying this servant $4,500, so that's fraud. That's visa fraud. You say you're going to pay $4,500, you didn't pay $4,500. So she had gone to drop her daughter at school. So he had his marshals go over. And as soon as the bill went into school and she came out, they arrested her, handcuffed her, and then took her to the police station and then strip searched her. I mean, that in India, if you strip search a woman, you're in trouble.
This happened in America or in India?
But it's happening in New York.
In New York.
Yeah. So the Indians all livid about the fact that you can strip search a woman like that. A diplomat. And for what? Because you suspect that she's paid her staff a little less than you think. That's not even a big crime. I mean, yes, you can stop her from doing that. You can charge her. You can arrest her. Do something about it, but you don't handcuff the person in public and take her and strip search her, and then you put her lock her in a jail with other drug addicts and rapists and others next to her. You don't put her in that condition like that. So, but the point is, the other side of the story is you don't mistreat employees, right? The American system is the employee has a lot of rights. She's a servant doesn't mean that you can mistreat her. You can treat her second class. She's equal to anybody else, like that. So the drivers are considered to be like insignificant, servants. And here, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is becoming the servant. He's playing that role. He's becoming an insignificant servant of Arjuna. So the Brahmana is shedding tears. That's scrutinizing reading. That is scrutinizing reading. Gauranga Mahaprabhu told us that he felt that this person had understood the Bhagavad Gita. Not the one who can quote 700 verses, rattle off 700 verses, perfect translation and everything. But then you really don't know what it really means. One's life is not lived according to that realization, a transcendental realization. It's the transcendental realization that we're supposed to be doing after. So the purpose of the Varnashrama system, as stated in this report, is to raise one's consciousness so that we understand this is the purpose of consciousness. The purpose of consciousness is to come to the point of transcendental realization. And the Hare Krishna movement, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has that as its singular purpose. If you look at the 7 purposes of ISKCON, it starts with systematic propagation. Systematic propagation, education of public about the values of life, so that they can pull out of their inferior understanding of knowledge and come to the point of transcendental knowledge, which is valid knowledge. The other knowledge is invalid because it's temporary. It will ultimately lead to instability and misery. But the valid knowledge of Brahma will lead to eternality, knowledge, and happiness. Satchidananda. That is the difference between Brahma and Aprama. Aprama will lead to Dukkhale and Asashvata. Brahma will lead to Satchidananda. So, this verse, as we read it, as devotees, if we become very impressed by this and think this is how I should behave, then that means we have not understood what Krishna consciousness is. This is what we should be teaching others, so that, because they're not behaving properly, but as devotees, we should have gone past this level of behavior. Not only we protect, Brahmins, cows, women, elderly, and children. These are the 5 classes that are stated. We protect everybody. We protect the ants, the cockroaches, the lizards, the trees, the aquatics, the birds in the aviary. We're supposed to protect every living entity. That includes inanimate objects, what we call inanimate objects, because these are all paraphernalia. From our point of view, everything that is used in the service of the deities is actually Balaram. That is our understanding. It's all Balaram. We're supposed to, how should we be treating Balaram? We shouldn't be mistreating Balaram. We should be showing a lot of love and veneration to Lord Balaram because he is the original Guru. He's the original spiritual master. Not only the original spiritual master, he is also the original Supreme Personality of Godhead who shows us that by serving, one gets more enjoyment. Service gives more enjoyment. That is why Radharani enjoys more than Krishna. Therefore, she is the number one Rama. There are 5 Ramas. Rama means one who enjoys. And she is the highest of all the Ramas. That is why Lord Ramachandra gets his name. Why did Lord Ramachandra get the name Rama? He got the name Rama because he is Radharani's bodyguard. In the spiritual world, Radharani's bodyguard is Lord Ramachandra. He protects her from Krishna. His idea is Krishna will come and harass her, and Ramachandra will show his bow and arrow and say, "You better stay away from her. If you upset her, I'll shoot my arrow at you. I'll annihilate you." Like that. Because he loves her so much, he takes her own name. He takes her name as his name, Rama. It's just like we take the name Prabhupada Nuga, right? Why do we call ourselves Prabhu, not Prabhupada Nuga? Because we love Srila Prabhupada so much. We want to be the type of person that Prabhupada would want us to be. We want to be perfect ambassadors of Srila Prabhupada. We want to represent Prabhupada. We want to be the children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren of Srila Prabhupada who love Srila Prabhupada so dearly that there is no time in our life that we forget Srila Prabhupada. We always remember Srila Prabhupada and we never forget Srila Prabhupada. That's called Prabhupada Nuga. So why do we call ourselves Prabhupada Nuga? Because we love Srila Prabhupada so much. So Lord Ramachandra loves Radharani so much, he calls himself Ram. His name is Ram. But the original Ram is Radharani. She's the topmost Ram. And then Krishna is the next Ram after that. But he also enjoys it. Rama Ramani iti Rameti. Therefore he's called Ram. He is also enjoyed. He enjoys everybody. And who enjoys him? Radharani. Enjoys him. So she's the biggest enjoyer of all. Like that. So by this method, we actually live our lives, that we're actually all related to Gauranga Mahaprabhu and his associates and his followers. And by this process of transcendental knowledge, we will help those who are in material life understand Varnashrama Dharma so that they can rise to transcendental knowledge and then practice daily Varnashrama, where we are actually instructed by our Guru. Instruction of the Guru is what is the purpose of our life. Virusatmika buddhi ekeka kurananda. It is the instruction of the spiritual master that becomes our life and soul. Hare Krishna. Questions?
Wonderful class, thank you. When you were saying how we pray to the deities for, knowledge, for intelligence, for mercy, for strength, these kind of things. Like let's say someone prays, knowledge, I want to be knowledgeable, but yet, it's not like it's just going to flood in the brain. You have to, take the endeavor. Someone's praying for that, but then they don't read very much. So, how much is mercy and how much is our own personal endeavor? We'll pray for something, but we won't. We just expect it to come.
Yeah. Both of them are really dependent on desire, really. So if we have desire, it's called faith. Faith is the yearning of the heart. Just like, say for example, say for example, we're, No problem. Just like, we're yearning for something, right? Say, for example, we're yearning for pizza. Right? We love pizza. Every time we see pizza, it brightens our life. Makes us feel like, life comes back into our body or something. We become energized, just by seeing pizza. That means pizza is our faith. That's what it means. That's our faith. You see, whatever we're yearning for is our faith. The yearning of the heart is what our faith is. So, if we are yearning to please Krishna, and Krishna is pleased by transcendental knowledge, then even though we may not read very much, chanting also reveals knowledge, because chanting, the 108 beads represent the 108 Upanishads, right? So the knowledge of those Upanishads automatically comes to a person to chant sincerely. But you're absolutely correct. If we don't read, after saying, that we want knowledge and we don't read, in a sense that's a little bit of hypocrisy there, right? It's being hypocritical. And unfortunately that's what we are right now. We're hypocrites. We tend to say one thing and do another. So yes, in that case, but the fact that we pray, Krishna will make the arrangement. Somehow something will happen, and then I'll become a reader, like that. And that may take another life, by the way. May not happen in this life. But because we prayed for it, this whole pastime of the Mahaprakash Leela that Lord Chaitanya had, when he went and sat on the altar of Shiva's Sangam, and then he showed himself as Krishna, and then he called all the devotees to ask them to come and beg boons from him. Please come and ask for a boon, And some devotees would come and beg and they ask, and he would say, okay, you got it. But some of the devotees wouldn't ask for any boon. They didn't want any boon. They were happy to see Lord Chaitanya as Krishna himself, So they wouldn't ask for boon. Then he would remind them, you remember when you were 5 years old? And when you were 5 years old, you asked for some candy? And you remember 1 week later you got some candy? That was me. I was giving you your candy because you asked for it. The person would say, what? Oh my God, that was so insignificant. I was a 5-year-old, you know what I mean? It didn't mean anything in my life that I asked for something, some so insignificant. And so Lord Chaitanya says, no. Anything anybody asks in the name of God, I will fulfill. I will fulfill their desire. I will give it to them. It's just a question of time. He may give it a little later. So knowledge that might be transcendental knowledge may not come in one lifetime, it may take another lifetime, because we're not serious. If we're serious, like Srila Prabhupada said, we can be Krishna conscious in one moment. That's what Prabhupada said. But that requires that level of sincerity, like that. But generally we're not so sincere, so it takes a little longer. It's like this eye doctor I was talking to, a sleep doctor was talking to me, how much sleep do you need? He said, if you live your life perfectly, you need only 20 minutes of sleep in a day. But we don't live our lives perfectly, so we need more sleep. The less properly you live your life, the more sleep you need. You see what I'm saying? So the same thing with Krishna consciousness. The more sincere we are, the more rapid our advancement. The less sincere we are, the less rapid. What's that?
So Gorgisho was illiterate. Acharya. Acharya means Shastra. So can you explain that?
Yes. His understanding of Shastra was perfect. When he would speak philosophy with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the philosophy is very high philosophy. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur relates that, and let me go into a number of things. First of all, we have to look at previous life as well. It's not just one lifetime. You can't look at a person in this one lifetime and say that this is what he did in this lifetime, therefore he's there. Previous lifetimes, what he did, was very great, extremely great, exalted devotee, with great knowledge. He asked for a woman to be in a state that he was in this life. That's why he was living that type of lifestyle. It wasn't like, he was illiterate. He was not illiterate. He was more literate than the most literate person on the planet, but not by the markings, the markers that we have, that he would read books all the time and write books and speak from books like that. That's our marker for literacy, but that's not literacy. Literacy means that you know literature. What is literature? Literature is knowledge that's contained in books, but also contained in audio tapes and other ways, right? So in previous lifetimes, people didn't write anything down. Everything was carried by sound vibration. It was simply by words passed down from spiritual master to disciple. So he was, you might say, in another age altogether, in his category. He was a very Satya Yuga person living in Kali Yuga. You know, he hears something once, he knows it perfectly, he can recite it perfectly. Anyway, I'm going to tell you a story, tell you how literate he was. One day, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur comes to the spiritual master and says to his spiritual master, "Oh master, this very wealthy Vaishnava wants to hear Bhagavatam class from me." Okay, there was a person, there was a very wealthy person, and he was a very, very dedicated Vaishnava. You know, like a very nice Vaishnava. It's like, you know, devotees here, very nice Vaishnavas. Well, this guy was very good, extremely nice Vaishnava, but also extremely wealthy, like that. Not but he was also extremely wealthy. So then he came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and said, "I've heard your classes, and you give such nice classes. Can I have permission to sit in your classes? Because at that time, you couldn't sit in someone's class unless they personally invited you. You can't just tell us, you know, today, we like people sitting in the class. Even if they don't ask permission, right? Nobody asks permission. They all just come and sit in the class. So the point, but that time it wasn't like that. It was, you have to take permission. You can only hear if the spiritual master speaks. You can't force yourself on the spiritual master like that. So he came to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and asked, "Can I please in class?" He said, "I will tell you later." And so he went to his spiritual master and said, "Do I have your permission to allow that person to come and hear class when I'm speaking?" Look at the level of etiquette there is here. You know? And then, so Guru Kishore Das Swami said, "No, you may not." Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went back to the person and said, "Sorry, you cannot come and sit in my class." So the other person became very discouraged and disappointed, went away. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur could tell. This person's become very discouraged. Now, one thing that had happened in a very subtle way was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur himself had become a little discouraged. Why did my spiritual master stop this nice devotee from listening to class? Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, when he gave classes, didn't think that he was giving class. He was only relating what was in the scripture. He was relating, you might say, what do they say when you represent somebody else? You're channeling or something. What's a nice word for it? Like channeling. He's channeling his spiritual master. He's not actually sitting up there and giving a nice class thinking, "I'm Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, I'm giving a nice class." Not like that. He is giving class on behalf of his spiritual master. He's thinking himself a transparent bi-media, pure bi-media. So he's wondering why this person can't listen to class. He's a nice devotee. But being a very nice Vaishnava, very exalted personality, he understood my spiritual master is right. He knows why he's doing it. So he left it at that. Okay, a few months later, Guru Kishore Das Baba Maharaj calls Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to his place for prasadam. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur knows, if my spiritual master calls me for prasadam, there's some important message that's going to be delivered. The prasadam is only the invitation, but the purpose is going to be something big. So he goes there and he has prasadam with the spiritual master. The spiritual master said, "You remember 2 months ago you came and asked me that this nice Vaishnava who is a wealthy businessman wanted to hear class, and I told you no?" I said, "Yes, Guru Maharaj, I remember you saying that. I remember that very well." So he said, "I know, you were disappointed when I gave you the answer, right?" Yeah. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, very honest person. "Yes, Guru Maharaj, I was disappointed." He said, "That's not good. When you hear from your spiritual master, why should you be disappointed? The spiritual master represents God. His purpose is to tell you what Krishna wants you to do. Why are you disappointed?" Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur felt very chastised. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was a very sensitive person, okay? Ultra sensitive. There's nothing that went past him. Nothing. He was so perfect. And he thought to himself, yes, why did I become disappointed? My spiritual master tells me not to do something, I should be very happy. Yes. Now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhu did not even express on his face to his spiritual master that he was unhappy, by the way. He accepted the instruction. Just internally he realized in a very subtle, very, very subtle way that he had become a little disappointed. He noticed it himself, Bhaktisiddhanta. That's why he answered yes. But he did not show that displeasure to his spiritual master. He was very happy to receive the instruction, and he very happily told the other person in a way that the other person can actually understand that no, the mission is not forthcoming. You see? So then Gaura Das Bhagavad Maharaj told him that the purpose of a spiritual master is to train spiritual masters. I'm training you so that you will understand. But just because a wealthy person wants to come and listen to class doesn't mean speak. One should speak to one who is very serious in their inquiry for Krishna consciousness. Their only purpose for listening should be that they want to know who the Supreme Personality of Godhead is. They want to serve that person, serve Guru and Krishna very, very assiduously, very assiduously. Then you speak from Bhagavad. Otherwise, do not speak Bhagavad. Want to talk about literacy? I mean, that is literacy in action. That is Bhagavad, okay? This is a Amala Purana. This is how literate you are. And there are other stories, I can tell you story after story after story about Gaura Kishore Das, how literate he was, how well he knew the scripture. But you know, what happens sometimes among Vaishnavas is there is envy. Not you. I'm saying amongst some Vaishnavas there is envy. So at his time, there were some contemporaries who would berate Gaura Kishore Das Bhagavad. Why? Because he would sit in front of an outhouse and chant Hare Krishna. In a place that really stunk it up, you know, with a stool and stunk the place up. And he would sit there and chant Hare Krishna. Why? Because he didn't want anybody to disturb it. Because otherwise people would come to him and disturb him. Maharaj, what about this? Maharaj, this question, Maharaj, that question, advice. My wife is not talking to me. How do I resolve it with my wife? These type of things. He didn't want to get into all of that. He was very focused, just like Jad Bharat was very focused on Krishna consciousness. He didn't want to be. So Jad Bharat presented himself like a madman. He wasn't bad. He was actually the most exalted Vaishnava of his time. He was such an exalted Vaishnava, but he presented himself as a mad person. Why? So nobody would come around him, right? People don't like mad people. They run away from mad people. So the same way Gaura Kishore Das Bhagavad was. So people then, the story came out that he was illiterate at that time and things like that. And then, you know, a lie repeated enough number of times becomes the truth. This is the material world. Just about a week ago, I heard this person was given reprieve after being in jail for 20 years. 20 years, a person was in jail for murder. And then they gave him reprieve. They said, okay, you can go. So why did they say you can go? Because they found out he had not killed the person. Evidence came forth that proved that he had not killed the person. Now, when this person came out of jail, he said, you know, I wasn't that hurt that they told me I killed my wife. They accused him of killing his wife. He said, I wasn't that hurt about that. What I was really hurt about was that 12 people I knew very nicely all said I killed my wife. 12 people said I killed my wife. So the jury accepted that. And the jury said, you're guilty of murder. All those 12 people were lying. They found out later. They all were lying. 12 liars get together, and you can put someone in jail for murder. You know? How many devotees does it take to discourage another devotee? You put 2 or 3 devotees together, you start harassing the devotee. I'm telling you, that harassed devotee might start doubting themselves, right? Isn't that the story of the father and the son who were going to sell the goat in the market or something, you know? They take the goat to the market, and these thieves figured out how to get the goat off these people. They had, 3 different stations. In the first station, they said, this is not a goat. It's actually a, what did they say? It was a goat they went to sell in the market, right? They said, it's not a goat, it's a dog. It's not a goat. Why are you walking the dog? I said, no, I'm not walking the dog, I'm walking the goat. Where are you going? Going to the market. Why are you taking the dog to the market? One thief is saying, it's not a dog, it's a goat, look. No, it's a goat, it's a dog. It's a goat, and it's a dog. They go, this you nonsense, this is a goat, I'm going to the market. So they walk out, some days later, another thief turns out. Same thing. Oh, beautiful dog, you have a beautiful dog. Such a nice dog. What's his name? Guys, it's not a dog, it's a goat, can't you see? And he shows him the parts of a goat. Goat like this, dog like this, but a goat is like this, you know. So then they say, rascals, you know, this is a goat, this is not a dog. They go third. Somewhere later, third thief turns up and says something about the dog, you know what I mean? Now this guy starts doubting himself. I think this is a goat, maybe it's a dog. So then he figures out it's a dog, so he lets him loose. So the thief walks away with the goat. But this is the nature of this world. If enough people get together, it becomes the truth. You know, that's the principle of advertising, right? Advertising, they keep saying it. You know, Coke is it, 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 and then people start thinking Coke is it. They go to the supermarket and they think, you know, like this one kid saw that Coke is it, right? Or something, I think at that time Coca-Cola would say that everything runs better with Coke. Or something like that. There was a statement like that. So this guy, this kid bought a bottle of Coke and put it in his father's, you know, the car's, what do you call them? Petrol, you know.
Gas tank.
The gas tank. And he filled the gas tank with Coke, thinking that, you know, Carl will run better. Everything runs better with Coke, so he put Coke in his father's gas. And then father started the car, and the car would sputter, and stop. He wouldn't move. And he think, what happened? You know, my car is not running. So he called the mechanic, and the mechanic figured out that there was Coke in the gas tank. So you know, where did Coke get there from? You know, he thought some petrol station must have mixed Coke with what he called. They tried to find out, and his son said, "Dad, I put the Coke in there." So why did you put the Coke in there? So everything runs better with Coke. You know. So I thought the car will run better with Coke too. This is the nature of this world, you know. It's just the nature of this world. So this is how these stories happen, that he was illiterate. No, he was not. Just the opposite. He was extremely literate person. Many times stories of Vaishnavas, and even now we can see that, right? How many stories are there about you? Are you brushing it off? Okay. A lot of people get affected, you know, especially the mean stories and, you know, untrue stories, insulting stories. And those who do that, their duration of life, what to speak of their spirituality? Their spirituality is over. The moment you insult the devotee, your spirituality is over. There's a wonderful story of, was it Rupa Goswami who was seeing a pastime of Krishna and was looking out the window, and then suddenly the scene broke and he tried to figure out what happened, and so then Sanatana Goswami asked him to call all the people of the place and give a big feast so that they'll find out what might have happened. Somebody, he said, was insulted. You insulted somebody. He said, I don't insult anybody. No, you insulted somebody. So he gave a big feast, and one person didn't turn up at the feast for the whole, you know, village. So they went to the person, why didn't you come to the feast? He said, well, your brother insulted me, you know. How did he insult you? He said, well, I was walking past the window, and you were laughing at me. And Rupa Goswami said, I wasn't laughing at you, I was laughing at the scene. I was seeing a scene of Krishna, I was in a pastime of Krishna, and I was laughing about something that was happening in the scene. And this gentleman was walking past Rupa Goswami's house, saw Rupa Goswami looking out the window at him and laughing, so he thought, he's laughing at me. So he became insulted. Why are you laughing at me? You know, like that. And that broke his stream, his Krishna conscious stream. And what does that tell us? How careful we have to be dealing with other people like devotees. Devotees are the most dangerous people in the world. They're more dangerous than terrorists. A terrorist can only take your life. A devotee can take away your Krishna consciousness. Life you can get back like this. Krishna consciousness? Oh my God. That's tough.
You read something that a friend of mine, I will not tell the name,
Yes.
is the Buddhist. And it was such a nice devotee, doing puja for many years. He was always available for everybody, had to meet everybody. And one day, he got judged or blamed by a little girl.
Yeah.
He said he did something, and the father, was what to, to hurt him so bad, bring him to jail and everything. So, and the temple commander tried to help him. The temple commander tried to tell to the mother and the father, don't do that because he's such a nice devotee. He didn't listen. So the devotee was very hurt. He left the place.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, the husband, he killed himself, suicide, and the mother, she's died from cancer. He was young, from cancer. All of them disappeared. Now he's devotee, now he's so successful. So the story.
You're talking about Pujari, and I have to say, for you, you're the best Pujari I've ever seen. The way you do your deity worship up here, I feel so good. Just seeing, watching you, I feel like there's a drama going on here. There's a pastime of Krishna going on here, there's a Leela going on. He's so enthusiastic, and because I do Pujari work as well in Dallas, So I want to do it once so that others can see that I'm also interested in Pujari work. And it's because I love the deities. I always like it because when you do Pujari work, you're closest to the deities. It's like Prabhupada said, that's great fortune. The Pujaris are so fortunate; they're right next to the deity. When I see, I just become so inspired seeing that. I just want to say thank you very much for your devotion. And you came on the other day, and you're so enthusiastic in the crowd. So nice to see that. It's very good. Thank you very much. And you're so steady. You're here all the time. This is one thing I noticed about Tucson as well. The devotees here are so steady. They apply themselves, like you were saying, that the cooks have been cooking for 22 years and have had only 2 days off, And in Dallas, I would say probably the cooks are cooking for 22 days and have 2 days off. Not that I'm criticizing my cooks. I mean, they're very nice people. I love them very much. But, that's steady. That's steadiness. It's described as the number one quality of a devotee. In the Bhagavatam, in the final chapter, concluding chapter, it is stated that the highest quality of a devotee is steadiness. It's the number one quality. Trumps even humility. Humility is not easy. And everybody, we know that humility is the crown jewel of a devotee. But steadiness trumps humility. It only comes after humility. It cannot come before humility.
Prabhu calls both steady and humble. So.
Yes. Obviously. Without humility, steadiness will not come. And the same with you. I mean, you've hung in there. Difficult times. Real difficult times. And same with what the devotees here who've been in the movement for long enough. Prabhu is sitting here. Very humble devotee. Worked very hard, very simple-hearted. Doesn't present himself as a very important person. But very sincere, extremely sincere. And just see in his face. He reminds me of another devotee, I love very much, Dinabandhu Prabhu. You know Dinabandhu Prabhu.
People have told me that maybe 20 times.
Really?
In Mayapur.
Really?
They talk to me every day.
Really?
You look like
Dinabandhu. I mean, Dinabandhu also is a very exalted devotee, very exalted devotee. I'm talking about exaltation, not just devotee. Thank you very much. Because this is what makes the yatra. Any building is actually kept standing by its pillars. The pillars matter a lot. That's what keeps the structure standing up. You know what I mean? And then you can keep the doors open, like Prabhupada said. Whatever it takes to keep the doors open, do it. As far as temple is concerned, the pillars keep the temple structure working, and the pillars are the devotees who actually do service. They are the pillars. So we have very, very strong pillars. So all I can say is that the future of Tucson is very bright, extremely bright. The whole city will benefit from your steadiness, your humility, your sincerity. The whole city will benefit. And it's just a matter of time. Like the other day, a nice devotee was asking the question, how come the city is not here already? It's because Gaur and I are holding them back. And they're holding them back. The number one reason they're holding the city back is to give us the opportunity to have an intimate relationship with them. Because when there are few people around Gauritai, those few people have full access to Gauritai. You know? But once the big crowds come, then you will be told, "Prabhu, sorry, but you cannot do puja all the time." We need to now allow some other people to do puja as well, because they also want to do puja, right? And then you're given once a week to do the puja, and you're thinking, "Oh my God, I was doing all this nice puja, and I loved it, and I was in ecstasy, and now I can't do the puja." So count your lucky blessings until we are few people in the temple, because you get to do all the service. You get to do all the loving, express all the love. But what's going to happen is the tsunami is coming. And just like any tsunami, it does not announce itself. And when it comes and you see it, it's too late. It's too late. Once you know a tsunami is there, it's too late. That thing is within minutes, it's going to be over you, and it's going to deluge you, like it will completely deluge you, cover you over. And you're going to be swept away like that into the ocean, fighting for your life. So the tsunami is coming. People are coming. They're going to become Krishna conscious. Better grab your Krishna conscious service opportunity now and do it, because after that, we'll be sitting down trying to do some training programs now. Let's train these people so they can do their service properly. That's our going to be our goal. And then if you have not done the service yourself, you will not feel great satisfaction. Satisfaction comes from intimate service performed by the living entity for the object of their love. Like that. So the object of our love is the deities and the devotees. Take advantage of the deities, take advantage of the devotees.
In Detroit, if you go in and wash pots, you get into a lot of trouble. Because there's one devotee that after his service, he gets really mad. You wash.
True. It's true. And people love their service. They cannot live without it. They shrivel up and die if that service is taken away from them. So for them, that service is their life. So, anyway. In some ways, it is not so, we're not so happy that not many people are coming. But I can tell you, from Gauritai's point of view, it's a very different story. They're keeping those people away. They can invite everybody from the universe to come here to this temple right now. At will. They can tell Brahma, turn up here, Brahma will come here himself. Or to speak of, somebody from hell. Why are they not doing that? They're giving us the opportunity to intimately associate with them. Why? It will build our Krishna consciousness, right? This is what will give us strength, our Krishna conscious strength. And this is what will transport us to the spiritual realm. So they're giving us the launching pad right now. It's just like, imagine there's a launch pad, and there's rockets you can fly off it, and everybody wants to put their rocket there to fly it off. So the launch pad has got only restricted amount of, accessibility, and everybody's vying to get that position so that they can fire the rocket through there, right? So this is the launch pad. This is the launch pad of going back to the forest of Nityananda and to Shvetagri, where Lord Nitai are performing their pastimes with Master. This is the launch pad. And right now, we've got like a monopoly on this launch pad. Mm-hmm. And now we've got the monopoly, we're taking it for granted. You're thinking, no big deal. I have my opportunity. My God, that opportunity can go away any minute in the form of losing your voice, losing your ability to use your limbs, temple president getting mad at you and throwing you out of the temple. Anything can be gone at any moment. You see what I'm saying? So, it's just wonderful. I mean, I keep saying this, but, I don't know, maybe you might be thinking I'm just trying to keep praise on you for the fact that I am somehow associated with you, but nothing to do with me. Not that I'm saying I will not be the GBC for this place. If I ever became not the GBC of this place, I will keep saying the same thing. I want to visit this place because it inspires me. It's a real inspiration. All of you are a real inspiration. It's wonderful what you all doing. Excellent. Keep it up. Keep on trucking, like they say. Just keep on trucking. Gauritai will give you everything. Whatever we have is because Gauritai has given it to us. And they can give us everything. Even more than Radha and Krishna can give, Gaura can give. That Radharani says that. I'm not saying that, I'm repeating Radharani's words here. So, you've got them right in the center. This is their temple. You can see them right in the center there. Placing a hand up and say, we're here. Right here. Do not fear. All the hands up. Yeah. Radharani's got one hand out saying, don't fear. Gaura got both hands up saying, don't fear. We're here. My dear, come here. There's nice sayings in the material world, right? They rhyme these words. My dear, come here. Do not fear. Anyway, thank you very much. It's just an honor coming here. And we really, this is wonderful. You've been great. Just stay encouraged. Never let anything discourage you. Move forward. Have a lot of faith in Gaura Nitai. Everything will happen. Srila Prabhupada is here. He's blessing us 24/7, sitting here. Looking so regal and so, so attached to his followers. He's very attached to his followers. Very, very proud, very protective of his followers. And he's here. And, I tell people, you want something to come true? Stand in front of Srila Prabhupada and ask him. Krishna will do cartwheels to fulfill your desire. Because Srila Prabhupada, you ask Srila Prabhupada, because he is so indebted to Srila Prabhupada for what Srila Prabhupada did for him on this universe, in this planet. What Prabhupada did is unprecedented. And Krishna is scratching his head thinking, how can I repay this person? How can I repay this person? So if anybody takes Prabhupada's name, that person is in the favorite books of Krishna. Krishna loves that person to death because he took Prabhupada's name. I tell people, this is the magic mantra in this world. Prabhupada. It's a 4-syllable magic mantra. You say these 4 syllables, anything will happen. Anything will happen. Now be careful what you ask for, because you may get yourself into trouble asking for the wrong things. So be careful what you ask for, but whatever you ask for in the name of Prabhupada, you will be given. Guaranteed. Krishna's promise. Krishna's guarantee. So we're very fortunate. We have everything. And now we can enjoy some prasadam, and we can, relax a little, and we can go out when we want to, right? In the future, it's not going to be like that. You're going to be lining up for prasadam. There's going to be so many people taking prasadam, you're going to line up like everybody else. And you may even have to have a ticket. They might not even give it to you free after that. There's so much prasadam that needs needed, So you get your ticket, fall in line, get your prasadam. And you'll be thinking, oh my God, the old days? What happened to the old days? Can we go back to the old days again? Well, sorry. The old days are old. They're gone. You can't bring them back. You'd love to bring them back, but you can't. You had the opportunity to do it at that time. At that time you didn't do it, you lost your opportunity. It's like they say, you snooze, you lose, right? So you snoozed, you didn't take advantage of the opportunity. Not that cruel, but anyway. Krishna gives so much time. Look at how much time he's given us. We're into almost the 50th year. He's giving us 50 years to get your act together, take advantage. So he's given a wide window to take advantage. Now when that window shuts, because tsunami comes and the window shuts, we have no one to blame but ourselves that we didn't take advantage when the opportunity was there. No one to blame but ourselves. And the smaller the temple, the more the opportunity you have. The smaller the temple, the more opportunity. The bigger the temple, the more structured it becomes. It has to become structured, otherwise it can't survive. Here you can run to Mother's Nam anytime you want to. In bigger temples, you can't just run to the temple anytime you want to. So Vas has a day for visiting the devotees. I think it's Thursday or Tuesday or something like that. Tuesdays you can see him, other days don't talk to him. He has got no time to speak to anybody. He's got other things to do. He's got a lot of things to do to make sure that that big temple is running. Can't be sitting with devotees and giving the same instruction over and over again. Prabhu, you didn't do this. Prabhu, you didn't do this. Prabhu, you didn't do this. He doesn't have the time. He has people under him who do that. So you don't get to see the temple president, you get to see the temple commander or whoever else. Here you have access to the temple president. The temple president is the representative of deity, is actually the representative of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada said that when he's not there, the temple president is me. The temple president is me in the temple. So if we have access to the temple president at that level, just like how much access did we have to Srila Prabhupada when he was here? How much time did we get, each of us, with Prabhupada? Very little, right? Those who got time. Very little time. Some people just got like Prabhu was saying the other thing. He just said one thing to him, and that was, don't come near. And that don't come near became his whole life. Don't come near means this, it means this, it means this, it means this. You know? Actually, if you read Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's writings, you will see, he says there are three most important instructions. First, get an instruction from a spiritual master. Two, try to meditate on that instruction so that instruction becomes your life. Get a 360-degree understanding. Ask every Tom, Dick and Harry what they think that instruction means. So that you get to understand a 360-degree understanding of instruction, so that the third step happens, and that is you become one with the instruction. And when you become one with the instruction, your life is successful. You have jackpot. Just like in the US right now, the $585 million jackpot that's going on. It's the largest jackpot ever in the history of US. Why? Because more and more people are buying tickets. They're thinking, the jackpot's the biggest, I'm going to go and buy tickets. I wasn't going to buy tickets, but now that it's the biggest jackpot, so they fall in the trap, right? So they forgive it. The jackpot is going up, going 600 million, 700 million. And who's going to win one jackpot? One person, right? 50 million people paid in, and one person walked away with the money. What a nice business.
Mm-hmm.
Let's call gambling, right? And then people just fall for it, I remember when I was younger as a devotee, not that I'm much older now, but some of my godbrothers asked Krishna Maharaj, why can't we buy a lottery ticket? We win it, imagine, we'll fund the temple will have all the money in the world. And, Maharaj is laughing, he knows, when you win, it's not going to go to the temple. You'll be out there buying a nice house and a nice car and investing in sure that everything's nice as a family, If you forget the temple, you don't like the temple president anyway, so why would you give money to the temple president? You go to another, start your own project, right? Start your own temple, or whatever. Anyway, so he said, okay, he gave in. He said, okay, I will allow you to buy one ticket, okay, 3 times in your life. That's it. No more after that. You can buy $1 3 times. $1 ticket 3 times. Just so that, they can satisfy their whim that they want to win a lottery. But they think, I'm Krishna's devotee, right? So if I'm Krishna's devotee, shouldn't I be winning the lottery? Krishna loves me. So Krishna will let me win the lottery, right? But Krishna is not a fool. He knows when you win the lottery, you'll give up your devotion. So he's not going to give you the lottery. He's going to run away. Instead, he's going to give you a lot of debt. So now you keep begging Krishna, oh Krishna, please help me, I want to get out of my debt. I'm going to chant Hare Krishna really nicely, so I can get out of my debt. Krishna knows, he knows how to use everybody in practice. So he keeps us in that condition. That's our great fortune. We get more time. And when you go back to the spiritual world, then you realize, oh, that was so nice of Krishna. I came back, but I stayed humble, I stayed steady, and I came back, Otherwise, if we lost it, then, we're wallowing in the material world more and more, right? That's all we're doing, we're wallowing. We're suffering more and more, misery, more and more instability. That's what it is. Anyway, this class has gone way beyond Prashad time. Sorry about that. But thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Shikal Paturvascha. Kripa Sindhu Devcha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo. Vaishnavebhyo. Jai Gaura Bhakti.